our first story for this evening, Elizabeth Corbett. Elizabeth, come on up.
Let's see. I've never used one of these before. So I'm Elizabeth, and I'm going to tell you a story about me and my mother. So it's actually my mother's hidden talent that I'm going to share with you tonight, but it's definitely a first-person story. It's probably the oldest story on record about me and my mom. It's about 40 years old. And my mother and I are very close, but we're very, very different. My mother, for those of you who don't know her, is a force to be reckoned with. She is an incredibly strong, big personality. She takes up a lot of space in a room. She is independent. She's 77 years old and still incredibly independent and very, very tough. She just seems unassailable. And part of the reason that she is this way is that she had a really abysmal childhood. The badness of this childhood is like of mythological proportions. So she had to develop a lot of very serious coping strategies. So she became this really tough person that like nothing can touch her. But in developing this personality that has served her so well, one of the bumps in the road was that she had very severe stutter when she was a girl. And it took her years and years to get over the stutter, but she did. She doesn't stutter to this day. But it was a huge struggle and a triumph that she was able to stop stuttering. So then there's me. I'm her only daughter, her only child, and I'm sure she wanted a, hearty, tough kid, but instead she got me. And from the very start, I was a fragile flower. I was an incredibly sensitive kid. I was a fainter. I was afraid of the dark. I was afraid of things that are high. I was afraid to ride a bicycle. I was this hysterical crier, so if we went to like Lady and the Tramp or something, they would have to haul me out in the middle of the movie because I was crying so hard. So she really tried to toughen me up, because she wanted me to be a kid who couldn't get hurt. So she wanted me to be stronger. But all of her efforts in that department were really disastrous. I was just sensitive. There was nothing to do about it. So anyway, when I was about 2 or 3, we lived in Mallorca in Spain. Lucky kid. We were in Mallorca because my dad was a writer, and he wanted to be a part of the expatriate artist community that was happening there, so we moved to Mallorca. And one day, there was some sort of an expat picnic or something happening, and my parents decided to go, and they were going to leave me at home for the first time with a babysitter. And, again, I'm sure my mom was like, oh, don't want to be a mama's girl, she's 2. We got to live our separate lives here. So she left me with a babysitter. And it probably would have been fine, but there was sort of a glitch. The babysitter didn't speak any English, and I didn't speak any Spanish. So my parents went, they did their thing, they came back, and the minute that they walked in, it was really clear that things hadn't gone well. And I'm freaking out, the babysitter's freaking out, and she just wanted to get the hell out of there. So she was like, adios, senora, and just like left. And my mom came up to me and was trying to figure out why I was so upset. And while she was communicating with me and trying to get information, she realized that I had started to stutter. And I just couldn't spit the words out, and I was stuttering really hard. So she flips out, and she picks me up, and my father, meantime, I'm sure my mother is screaming bloody murder, because that's what she does when she's upset. She just screams. So she's screaming at my father. I'm sure my dad is like on the phone to the preeminent expert in stuttering that he knows in Manhattan, because he's going to nip this whole stuttering thing in the bud. And my mom is having none of it, so she leaves the house with me, leaves my dad behind, and we get into the car. And the minute that the doors to the car close, it's totally silent. My mom is silent, I'm silent, and she just drives. And she drives off and drives through these like beautiful mountainous pastoral roads, and she finds a field. And I don't think it's a field that we'd ever been to before. She just sort of knew it was the right spot. So she pulls the car over, she picks me up out of the car, and she holds me and walks me into the middle of the field to a tree. And she sits down with me at the bottom of this tree, and she just held me like a baby, you know. And she just rocked me back and forth and held me for as long as it took for her to know that the fear had left my body, and that I knew that I was safe, and that she was never going to leave me. And so thanks to my mom's hidden talent, her talent to completely empathize with another human being, I am able to stand here today and tell you this story and not stutter.
Yay! Elizabeth Corbett.